Hey guys, it's time for the weekly eval. Too cold for this shit. It's Friday and that means evaluation of this week's challenge, which has been based on Brené Brown's work on vulnerability, daring to be seen, face risk, uncertainty and emotional exposure. And that is what we have been doing this week. So stay tuned and we will go through the main point that I have gotten out of this week, because damn have I gained some insight. But it's insight that is very clear. It is nothing new. I basically presented it in the first introduction video, but when you go through a week like this, when you actively think about these things, that's when the true insight comes. It's nothing you can hear or read about. Of course you can, only on surface level. You need to take it in deeply to fully understand and grasp it. But I will do my best to just sum it up very briefly, but I can't do this, it's too cold. I can't really feel my lips or my face, kind of losing a bit of my ability to speak clearly. So freaking cold. Can't feel anything. Worth it. Creativity is flowing. Still very cold. Fortunately, I got some hot chamomile tea. Too hot. Still super delicious. I got some candles, hat is on, a nice sweater, burnt fingers, I'm ready to go. Freaking shice. Let's give it another shot. No, 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 no. I was really, yeah, that should do it. I'm really starting to get comfortable with this. The cozy guy aura. I think it suits me well. What do you think? I need to adjust the camera. Oh, that's better. Now we're talking. Let's get started again. We were talking about vulnerability. And as I think I've mentioned Brené Brown's name like 50 times this week. But it's her work that I have based this whole challenge on. It's her books that I've read and taken on the tips and tricks and used throughout the week. That's the base fundament for this whole challenge. And man, has she done a good work. So I thought I'd just mention the things that has meant the most to me throughout the week. Brené really talked about the importance of practice gratitude daily. And I have really done that. It is so powerful. And it doesn't matter how many times I say it. You've heard it before and you will hear it 100 more times. It's not until you start practicing it actively yourself you're realizing the power it has, because it really brings you, it just makes you feel good from the bottom of your heart. When I have the moments of pure gratitude, you're able to be grateful and really feel it, because it doesn't always work. When you actually have those moments, it all makes sense. This whole, you can't hear about it and understand what I'm talking about unless you actually do the work yourself daily and find your way of doing it, because there are different ways. And if you want to get started and don't know how to start, my favorite gratitude practices, at the end of the day I write down 5 things that has been very freaking amazing. The small things could be a cup of hot tea when you got home because it was so freaking cold outside. It's those small things. So if you want to start something, that is my best tip. Write down the things that has been good throughout the day. So that has just been a super important part of this week. Practicing gratitude, and boy, have I been reminded of the effect it has. Another thing I've been working on actively this week is to really scan my thoughts constantly. What am I feeling? Is this good feelings, bad feelings? Is it shame? Why am I feeling shame? Brené Brown in the book Rising Strongly, she talks about what kind of story you're making up. Because if you're having a conversation and it ends kind of badly, you're making up a story. Often the worst kind of scenario. Like, oh, that person must hate me because I said that. So a good thing here is to say it out loud to yourself. Write it down or just think about it. Oh yeah, I think he is thinking so because she said so and so. And when you say that out loud, you can observe it in an objective way, and it makes it easier to break down and analyze and maybe see that it's not really that much sense. But also this first draft of the story you're making up, it's something you should share with a friend of yours that has deserved to hear your story. Because not everybody deserves to hear your story. And this is a deep topic, and she talks a lot about this in her second book, Rising Strong. But that is something that I've used in a very surface level way. We had this conversation, it made me feel like this. What kind of story am I making up here? I'm thinking this and this. Maybe this doesn't make sense. I'm probably exaggerating. That brief surface level attack, breakdown of the conversation, the story I'm making up, has really helped me throughout the week. That is a tool I've started to use, and it has been super useful. Another thing that I've been doing this week is that I have been talking to myself like I would talk to a friend of mine. Okay, Alex, I understand that you feel this way, but if you just give it a new try, if you look at this in another way, it's okay. You ate way too much, but people fail sometimes. You can go at it again. It's not the end of the world. It's alright. If you had children, you wouldn't tell them that they suck because they failed a test, that they would never achieve anything in life. You would say, it's okay. Next time we'll try to practice more together. We'll approach it in a different way. It's only one failure. We will be alright. And that is how you should be talking to yourself. And that is something I've been working on to really practice this week. And you can feel that it works. It makes you feel more humble about everything. It's not dead serious. It's not the end of the world if something goes to shit, because shit happens. That's life. You have to just get up on the horse as soon as possible again. Because if you don't, if you just load down a lot of anxiety on yourself, that will only trigger the system that makes you go after more shit. So that doesn't work. That's why you need to talk to yourself in a good way, like you would be talking to a friend. And that also brings us to the next thing I've been practicing a lot this week: self-love. The act of loving yourself unconditionally, without any limits, knowing that there's always one person that would love me no matter what I do, and that is myself. The amount of love that I feel for myself, at least that's the theoretical idea. I'm still working on this, but I'm getting better. But that source should be infinite. There's a lot of people that saying, Brené Brown is one of them, that you can't love anyone else more than you love yourself. So you put up the limit by how much you love yourself. That is hard to grasp, but I actually start to believe it more and more. So that is something I've been doing this week, talking to myself in that way, looking myself in the mirror, deep into the eyes, saying, I love you, Alex. And that feels very creepy and weird in the beginning. It still does. But it actually warms me up. I think you should try it out as well. The thing that has affected me the most this week, and something I've been working on for a long time, the act of being your true self, exposing your true thoughts, ideas, sharing that to the world. Key for vulnerability. I mean, it walks hand in, it is vulnerability basically. When you act in the way you know in your heart is the right way to act, something special happens within you. You feel that you are walking the right path in life. Even though if it's just small things, just the very action of doing what you know you should be doing, what you want to do, what really speaks to you, and standing up for that, that is when you start to live your true life. When you are starting to act the way you should act. When you start to play the role of yourself. then life becomes meaningful. But this is something that isn't done in a day or two. This is something you have to constantly work on for the rest of your life. But for each struggle, for each battle you win, you come closer to constantly being in that state. Because that is the goal, to always be yourself, to be consistent in who you are showing up as, your true self. And that is what vulnerability is all about to me. That's the core of it. And throughout the week, several times, I've just made myself so proud. Through the focus of this week, I've said, Alex, you know what you should do right now. Just do it. Don't sit here and idle about it. Just do it. Speak your mind, share your idea. Go for it. And I've just done it. Even though it's all super hard in the moment, it all just drops. The shields, the anxiety. And every time I do it, I feel I'm walking on the right path. And I want you to feel this too. The world deserves to see, hear, and experience your true self. Share it with the world. So go do that. Because that is another key thing that has happened to me this week. I've been thinking a lot about this with love, about me not sharing myself with girls, because I realized I'm protecting myself. I'm always saying I want my time to myself. I don't have time. But the realization I've done this week is that I'm afraid. I'm trying to protect myself from getting hurt. That's what's happening. Daring to love first. Daring to love. It's about taking in your emotions, experience joy and happiness, speaking your mind, being grateful, love, showing up as your true self every day. That is what this vulnerability challenge has been about. It has been freaking amazing, insightful, hard, all kinds of emotions. And when that happens, you know you're on the track of something good. That is all I'm going to say this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you haven't, go back and watch the videos. Maybe you can get inspired to do it if you haven't already. And if you're new to this channel, this is what we do here. Every Sunday I put up a challenge based on some expert in their field on how to approach an area of personal development. Linked to that, there will be objectives to do throughout the week, and then we just do it. And throughout the week I do some reflection in the vlog, both from my personal experience but also knowledge that I attain, because I want to go deeper into the topic throughout the week. So I always read up on stuff and just try to get a new perspective, share some thoughts. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and we can do this together. And with those words, I'm gonna raise my cup, have a last sip of tea, remind you of the video on Sunday for the next week's challenge, and wish you a great weekend. It has been fun having you here. This is Alexander, signing out.